Hey everybody, it's Annette. Wanted to do another part 3 or 4 in this series called Endings, and time needs to slow down. It's like crazy fast. It's Christmas will be here like in 4 days, and people are being pretty nice where I am. Haven't seen anybody spiraling out of control or anything. People seem to be relatively patient and kind with one another. So those are my interactions, and I know that that's not everywhere, but it's just going so fast. And I'm glad that I did a little bit at a time and kind of kept my anxiety at a minimum. So today's endings, I wanted to talk about I unexpectedly lost a job. I had left the university I had been at for many years, and I went to go work admin in a hospital, and I really liked it. And I had made some good friends there, and then some not so great friends. Some uh, drama sometimes, and a lot of women in the area I was at. So you had some who could be kind of petty and not so nice at times, but at least in my immediate area, for the most part, I had two good friends in there, and then my boss, who was always running around like crazy, and then another one in there who was the director. She did not care for me too well, but even with all that, I still really liked it. It was like having everything all in one place under one roof. You had a place to eat, you had places to sleep, you had places to shower, places to work out. It was just like such a self-containing environment, and I really liked it. But I went into work, I've been there almost a year and a half, and I knew there had been some departmental shifting because they had one really big volunteer program that was being run where the volunteers would help some of the patients who needed it with rides or bringing them meals or stuff like that. It was through all hospitals have like the ministry department or whatever, and little chapels and stuff like that, and cover all the different types of religions because you have so many different people of different beliefs who work at the hospital, but who also come to the hospital. So it was part of that program, and it was a really good program. Well, they decided to eliminate that program for reasons I still can't wrap my brain around. And the coordinator of that program was given a month notice. And I asked her, I'm like, are you going to not move to someplace else within the hospital? And she said, no, I have to like reapply and then try to find something. So she had already formulated a plan where she was going to go and what she was going to do. It was really unfortunate. Some calls that people make are good, others are not so good. This one, again, for the life of me, I can't understand why they eliminated it. And then we also had, I noticed like there was one of our nurses, I worked with the post acute area department. One of the nurses who worked in the ER, I think they call it ED, but emergency room, one of the nurses had come in for a meeting with the director who didn't care for me, not my boss, but the other director. And then she left, and I could tell she was upset. Well, then I learned that they were replacing her with a social worker. So, of course, my question is, where are they going to transfer her to? Well, they're not going to transfer her. She needs to, would need to reapply and find something. I thought that was just asinine. And I still don't understand that at all, because where I'm working now, if positions are getting eliminated due to grants running out or whatever, they will make good faith effort to find a place within the organization for people to transfer to, because there are perpetual openings. It's not like it's a revolving door place, but the company is growing and there's a lot of movement within the company, which is good. They encourage that. But they will also, rather than see a good employee, be eliminated, to find another spot for that person or to reclass a title or a position or something like that so that person does not have to lose work. And I would have thought that would have been the industry standard. And I don't know what the industry standard is, honestly. I think it depends on organizations, but I did not think this was a good call because this was a really great nurse. The volunteer leader was a great volunteer leader. And I saw the shifting. And with our department, the office personnel within our department was a very, very small team. I didn't even conceive at all that I would be touched. Not that I thought I was some big whoop or anything like that, but because we were a small department and we were a useful department. So I go in on a Friday, actually the day before my son's birthday, and I had seen my supervisor in the bathroom, and she was going to be retiring soon. And I think her mother was having some health issues, and she was visibly upset. I asked her if everything was okay, and she kind of brushed it off. I couldn't tell if she was embarrassed to be caught in a vulnerable position or what. But at 3 o'clock, I'm sitting there at my desk doing my work, and my boss, the director, was in her office, and then the dude from HR, I don't know why he made my. You ever have somebody just makes you just twitch because you're like, oh my god, what'd somebody do now? Who's going to get in trouble or whatever? He was that kind of person, that kind of personality. It's like you just never knew what somebody who was going to get in trouble, who was going to get written up, who's in trouble now. And maybe that's the way people look at us. I'm in HR now, so maybe that's the way people look at us. Now he came in there and I got called into the office and learned that my position was being eliminated. And it was like a sucker punch to the gut. And of course, the first thing I said was, have I done anything wrong? Because I'd never been disciplined. I never had any strikes against me or anything. And they assured me that no, it was nothing that I had done wrong, that position was in fact getting eliminated. And of course, my next question is like, is there another spot I can move into? You can reapply, you'll be priority, on anything that you are qualified for, obviously with the caveat what you're qualified for. So admin, obviously not nursing or clinicals or anything like that. And then I started crying and I was like, I have obligations. And they said, well, we're giving you a severance. And they told me how long the severance would last. And my boss said that she would write a letter of recommendation wherever I wanted to apply. So it was on good terms, but it was shocking terms because the other people kind of had a window and I didn't. It's like, go to work that Friday at 8:30, and then by 3 o'clock, or 3:30 when the meeting was concluded and the paperwork was signed, that I wouldn't retaliate against them or anything like that, and having to pack all my stuff up because I never saw it come and didn't get to say goodbye to my friends or anything. So it was very sudden, very jerk the rug out from under you kind of stuff. And the only thing I can think of, my boss, the director, was retiring, and I think they were just going to reshift that department too. And rather than replace with an admin for somebody who wasn't going to be there, and apparently nobody was going to move into her position, I learned from friends that that particular department eventually dissolved and or people got moved to different areas or whatever. So 3:30, I'm leaving to go home, and I called Redhead Diane and I said, I just lost my job. And she was like, you've got to be kidding me. I said, nope, because I had left the same place that she'd been working, and there were conditions, that led me to leave there and then to pursue advancing my career. So I had left a place to go to the hospital, and then a year and a half later, it's like no work. So I got home. Husband sees me bringing some boxes in. It's like, what happened? And I had to tell him. So how I navigated that one, that was an ending that I did not choose. It was an ending that was put upon me, and I had no control over that. So what I did, I allowed myself to lay around a little bit, like that day and that evening, and get whatever feelings I had to get out. I talked to my girlfriend. My girlfriend called me the next day. She didn't even know. It was like, they did it like stealth, like firing ninjas or or severance ninjas or whatever you want to put it. And I was like, just kind of devastated. I said, I'm in shock. I did not see this coming. So what I did, once I had time to absorb and get my feelings out, and I can guarantee you, if you know anything about me, there's a very short window that I do that. Maybe the first day or so, and then after that, I'm revamping that resume and looking for something else. So, ending I didn't pick, and sometimes we are put in positions where things end that we don't want. Losing a job at any stage of life, especially as you get older, is scary, because I think there's that sweet spot where you're not just out of college. And I'm not saying it's fair or anything, but not out of college, but you're somewhat seasoned, but then you're not like, I don't want to say over the hill, but like too close to retirement. There's little windows, little pockets of windows that are not favorable for people looking for work. And for example, the college student is looking for something, but then it's like, we want this experience. Well, they need to have an opportunity in order to have the experience. So, and then you have the other people who are older and have a wealth of information and skill sets under them, but then some companies are going like, yeah, they can't ask how old you are. They'll go like, and that person's going to be gone in a few years retiring. So even though I wasn't at that close to retirement stage, I was still older than I wanted to be out of work and looking for work. And so that's what I did. I just started networking, calling my contacts, and hey, I'm looking for work. I'm on the job market. Let people know if you find yourself out of work suddenly. Keep up with those networks. If you've played it right and done it right, you've had good relations with people who you've worked with in the past. You've gotten made a good name for yourself with other people, other institutions. Ask people to be references. Ask people to write letters of recommendation. And my the director at the hospital was true to her word. She did write a letter of recommendation. I was able to live off the severance for a little bit while I was looking for work, and it was very difficult. But network, clean up the resume, update the resume, and you're going to want to look at resume styles, because what you wrote, say 5 years ago, there's going to be a different format people are looking for. And then also you're going to need to look at the descriptions, because they're going through the computers and the filters and everything. They're looking for keywords they're going to pull out. So if it's a position you're looking for and you qualify, utilize those keywords to your advantage. That way your resume pops out. Also, make your cover letters unique toward that position. The cover letters that you write You can write a lot of them the same way, starting, the end, and your strengths. Do your sales pitch at the beginning, a good closing, respectable closing. But in the middle somewhere of that, you're not going to be able to cookie cutter it for everything, because you need to apply that skill set to how's it going to benefit that company? What can you give to that company and provide to them to make you a standout candidate? So those were some of the things I did. I saved every single um, cover letter, every application that I submitted. I had folders for everybody, because I was hitting the ground running. I was submitting them, and I kept track of what I was submitting. But the thing is that you also want to be prepared for when you do get a call for an interview. You're not the person on the phone, and this has happened to me, being, administrative side, calling somebody to come in for an interview, and they're like, "What did I apply for?" It's not a good look or a good way to start off that conversation. So that was the ending. I ended up taking a job that came available, but it was not the career I wanted. It was just something to get the money in the insurance as the severance was running out. So I did work in something that was outside of my field, but I did it because I wanted the money. I needed the money, and I definitely needed the insurance and the benefits. So I did that for a year, and then the world went sideways at the end of 2019. Everything was going wrong, and you know what happened in 2020. So once I was able to, once things started evening out, I was able to secure a career back in administrative assistance, and good opportunity and good pay and benefits. So that's not where I am now. Now I'm in a different place than that place after I left the position I didn't like. But sometimes we have to work places that we may not be especially fond of. But do what you can. You're doing that. It's a placeholder. It's a placeholder. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to take a placeholder. So update the resume. Let people know you're looking for work. If you've been a good worker, you will be, desired for somebody's organization if they have the place and the money. And that's what you want. You don't want to go backwards if at all possible. So fortunately, I was able to, when I did take the position that I wasn't that fond of, it paid more. So I did at least advance in pay, even though I didn't advance in the career that I wanted to. I learned a whole new skill set and gained a lot from that. But update them, see what style resumes are popular at the time. Gear your cover letter towards that specific organization, and everyday look. When you're out of work, your new job is to find work. So that's how I handle it. That's what happened to me. I did not expect it. It was very shocking. And for anybody, and I know a lot of people in 2025 have lost their jobs, and it is truly devastating. I see the reactions on different videos and stuff, and I see people losing it and crying. And you know what? I get it. Because don't think I didn't cry. I didn't do it online. But yeah, you got to feel your feelings, because it's a big, it's like the rug gets pulled out from under you, and all you can think about is like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it's scary. So I can encourage you that just stay focused, stay mission driven, and lock in on what you need to do to get yourself through this a difficult time like that, losing a position. And it may be, again, that you have to take something you don't like, do that, keep sending out your resumes, keep sending out those applications, and then you will find the place you are meant to be where your talents and all you bring to the table will be truly appreciated. Hope that helps. Um, I don't wish it on anybody, but if anything, just sharing this story, I hope it helps y'all. Take care. Have a good one. Love y'all.